Hi everyone, welcome to Conceptual Thinkers Talk Primary Maths Concept with teacher Ben. Now for this week we will be uploading two videos. So one will be 2022 prelim questions, and for this video we'll be touching on Pei Hwa 2021 prelim paper 2 question 11 and question 12. Now the reason why I create this video is because we have one parent actually request us to actually come up with the explanatory videos for these two questions. I guess it's because the answer key for these two questions are not given, so they don't give the detailed steps to how to solve them. So I think it's beneficial to actually upload this video fast so that the student can benefit as PSL is coming soon. So let's start with question 11. Okay, so let's start to interpret the question. So in the pattern below, each square is either empty or filled with a circle. So we have figure 1, 2, 3, 4 here. Now next, how many circles are there in figure 10? And next we need to find out what is the figure number that has 624 empty squares. So we know that the concept here will be number patterns. So we're going to start to implement the steps. So what I'd like to do is I would like to write the comparison in this manner. So put figure number, then put circles, then also the empty space. Okay, so for figure 1 there will be 4 circles, then 0 empty space. For figure 2 we're going to have 8 circles and 8 empty space. So for figure 3 we're going to have 12 circles, 24 empty space. Figure 4 we're going to have 16. Then we have 48 here. Okay, so let's start to analyze the patterns. So from figure 1 to figure 2 we're going to do an addition of 4. Then here also addition of 4, addition of 4. So the pattern will be like 1 times 4. So figure number times 4 and 3 times 4. So 4 times 4. So for part A, right, to look at figure 10, we're going to take 10 times 4. So the answer will be 40. Now this is pretty straightforward. Now for part B, then it's getting a bit more tricky. Now from here you don't see any like distinct like pattern, right, that we can look at. So we know that it will be 8, 16 and 24. So what I actually able to find out is they're going to do something like this. So we're going to take 4, which is a constant, we multiply by the figure number, which is 1 here. Then we multiply by figure number minus 1. So it will be 4 times 1, 4, 4 times 0, so you get 0. Then for figure 2, 4 times 2 times figure number minus 1. So I get 8. 4 times 3 times 3 minus 1. So 12 times 2, 24. 4 times 4 times 4 minus 1. So 16 times 3, 48. So for part B, what we can do is we can take 4 times, now the figure number we don't know. Then we're going to multiply by, again we don't know the figure number, minus 1, right? This will give me 624. So the first thing we know that there will be a 4 that we can actually divide. So we don't know what is this number, the figure number we don't know. And minus 1, then this will give me, if I divide by 4 throughout, right? So this will give me 156. Now here there's a trick that you should know so that it does help you to do some of the challenging PSLE question is same number times the same number minus 1, right? This is actually consecutive numbers, right? So one way to find consecutive number is what you do is you take 156, you do a square root. So if you do a square root, you're going to get 12.4899996. And this means that the number will be between 12 and 13. So if you take 12 times 13, this will give you 156. You can test with a calculator. Okay, so now let's understand. Now this is the figure number that we want, and this is figure number minus 1. So in this case, 12 is actually our figure number minus 1, and 13 will be the figure number. Okay, so that's why we know that our figure number will be 13. So this will be the answer. Now I'm going to do some inspection to actually see whether our answer makes sense or not for our part B. Now, if our figure number is 13, so our number of circles will be 13 times 4. So 13 times 4 will give me 52. Okay, so if you look at our empty space here, I'm going to calculate the empty space here. So we can take, you notice here is consecutive numbers, right? So 4 times 12 times 13. Then you notice that this will give you 156. So we can actually do a test for this to see whether we will get our number. So this is not 1560. You give me 624. Okay, so this will give me 624. So this means that it makes sense, the answer. Okay, so with this, we actually do our inspection for our number pattern question. Now this question is not easy. So what I think the examiner is trying to test the student here will be, if you can't identify the concept or the sequence for the number patterns, what you're going to need to do is going to list it out. I think from 4 to list out to 13 will not be that difficult. Now the only challenging part will be here. Now another thing that you take note is this is 8, this is 16, right? So it's actually 1 times 8, 2 times 8, so 3 times 8. If you do a listing it out, it's possible to get 624 by listing out to figure number 13. So I guess one of the reason why this question is under part B is you can actually do a listing out. Unless the question trying to test you on like maybe figure number 40 now, I think that will be challenging to list out. So in desperate measure during exam, let's say that you can't do any of the number pattern question. Now my suggestion to the student will be to list it out. Yeah, so let's go to the next one. Question 12. So let's interpret the question first. So we have Jack had 3 times. So Jack 3 times as much money as Bill at first. Then Bill received some money. Now this is important, receive. Then Jack spent some money. So the amount Bill received was 4 times the amount Jack spent. So after that, both had equal amount of money. So the total amount of money in the end will be $332.80. So for part A, we need to find out the what is the fraction of his money spent by Jack. Then part B, we need to know how much money did Bill receive. So the concept of this will be more than less than. Now the reason why I put as more than less than because they actually mentioned 3 times, 4 times, and equal amount. So what we can do is we can actually use our model drawing to actually show the visual explanation of all the movement in this question. So I'm going to show you how I draw the model. So we have Jack and Bill. So right at the start, we know Jack will be 3 times, right? So we're going to draw 3 long red units. Then Bill will be 1 unit. Now we know that Bill received 4 times as much money as Jack spent, right? So I know that Jack spent will be lesser compared to Bill. So which means that Bill will receive this amount. And then Jack will be spending this amount. So if I do a dotted line here, now remember this is actually 1 times, here is 4 times. So I'm going to cut this into 4 equal units. So this is one of them. This one, I draw a dotted line here so that it's for easy comparison. Now if you look at here, from here to here there's 2 big red units. From here to here there's 5 small blue units. So I want to find what is the lowest common multiple of 2 and 5, so that I can make them into equal small units. Okay, so 2 and 5 will give me 10. So this means that from here I'm going to cut this into 2 units each. And from the top part, every red color units will be 5. So this will be 5 and this will be 5. There's one more information I will put it in is the total in the end will be $332.80. So for part A, there's one calculation we need to know. Now this is what Jack jet span, right? So we need to calculate what is the units for this. Now this is pretty easy. Since we know that the blue color unit represent 2, so this is actually 2 units here. Now in total, right, this will be 15. So the fraction will be 2 over 15. In fraction, the top part represents the subject of the sentence. The denominator represents the total. So if you look at the question, they say span, right? So span will be the subject in this case. So I know there is 2 units. Now total is what Jack have in total, which is 15 here. Okay. Now for part B, we need to find out how much money did Bill receive. Now be careful, Bill only received until here, which is our 8 units, right? So this is the part that is received. Okay. Now we need to link our units with $332 and $32.80 with our units. So remember, this is gone, so only from here to here. So since in the end they are equal, so if we can calculate the number of units based on Bill perspective in the end, we just need to multiply by 2. So it will be 5u plus 2u times 4. So that will give me 8u here, so 13u. So 13u we need to multiply by 2 because in the end both will be equal, right? So will be 26u. So that means that 26u will be linked to $332.80. So 1 unit will be equal to $12.80. Now I'm going to find out what is the 8 units value. So 8 units will be $102.40. So this will be the answer for part B. So we already implement our steps here. Now lastly, we're going to do some check. Okay, so no space here, so I'm going to create some space for me to do some checking. So let's try to see whether my final answer makes sense or not. So what I do is, let's write the check word. I'll look at first what would be the situation. So at first, right, if you look at Jack perspective, so Jack has 15 units. So if we look at 15 units, you take 15 times 12.80, you're going to get 192. If you look at Bill at first, so Bill only have 5 here because 3 units represent the total units at first. So 5 units will be 12 times $12.80 times 5. So I'm going to get 64. Then I look at how much did Jet spend. So Jet spent 2 units. So 2 units will give me $12.80 times 2. I'm gonna get $25.60. Then I look at how much Bill received. So receive is according to the answer here will be 8 units. So will be 102.40. Now to check whether the answer makes sense, I just want to link the calculation with my $332.80. So what I'm going to do is I take Jet at first plus Bill at first minus away what Jet spent plus what Bill received. So you notice that I'm going to get $332.80. So you notice that this actually match, right? Match to the question. So match to the question here. So with this, I know that my answer actually makes sense. Because I don't use my answer, I follow the story and move on and see whether I will get to one of the numbers that was mentioned in the question. In this case, it's $332.80. Yeah, so with this, I reached the end of the video. So don't forget to follow us and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Conceptual Thinkers. And you can follow us on our Facebook, Conceptual Thinkers Mathematics and English Hub. So feel free to share your question. I hope that I able to explain your question clearly. So feel free to drop us any comments, and if you have any things that you want us to explain or show through our video, please let us know. Yeah, so I will see you in the next video. Bye.